Okay.
Wake up. It reveals a champion's resolve and a loser's doubts. But time always marches forward. Last night did Rich Gannon lay awake, appreciating every minute before the biggest game of his life? How did John Wooden sleep, knowing he finally had a chance for revenge? Right now, players leave behind distractions. Coaches make final adjustments. Butterflies twist inside stomachs. Just 60 minutes of effort to fulfill a lifetime of sacrifice. In 4 hours, time will stop. They all stand at the precipice of the biggest moment of their lives. All of us watching, now with glory a moment in front of them. It's time. Time to cherish each second before sports' biggest championship. What doesn't matter? Pick up the pace by taking us into the game. We have all access to Simeon Rice's 7 days to kick off. The biggest stars of the music world are hours, minutes, seconds away. 30 years from the only time we saw perfection. We spent some time with champions Jordan, Serena, Gretzky, Jones, Armstrong, Jeter, and Tiger. We see what 5 years mean for San Diego native Terrell Davis. Tim Brown puts off Father Time and fatherhood for one more day. Jimmy Kimmel has a good time. We cheer for people touched by one of the greatest of all time. And we count down each second and kick off by covering everything you could possibly want to know. Anticipation, expectation, past, present, future. The time is now.
Oxymoron Incorporated. Peacock. WWE Network. Weekly Wallace. Nathan's Coliseum Video. Nathan's World Entertainment Productions. Dreamland Movie Play. And GFW Network and Meanwhile Network presents WrestleMania 37, the Buccaneer Bowl.
Welcome to ABC Sports exclusive coverage of
WrestleMania
37.
37.
Sierra Mist pregame show.
WrestleMania 37.
Hiya, guys!
Picturesque San Diego, California, host of the Super Bowl for the 3rd time. They should have it here every year. We're at Qualcomm Stadium, a.k.a. The Murph. We're a little over 4 hours. We'll get things started between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Oakland Raiders. The gates have just opened. You know who is piling in. It's a sun-drenched late morning, the warmest day of the week. Game time temperature predicted 77 degrees on this beautiful field. It could creep up into the 80s.
And hello, guys! Welcome! It's Nathan Wallace, Bay in the house. And sorry for my apologies, and my apologies to my fans, and that I had to log off on the last stream video. Oh, because I went to Terre Haute. So anyways, this is the pregame show for the opening ceremony of WrestleMania 37, the Buccaneer Bowl. And we will go through each card individually. The same shows that have been in the June 4th Mega Show will now be in effect for the full 2 days of WrestleMania. Starting tonight with WrestleMania SmackDown on Fox in the Thunderdome and Tropicana Field. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Plus the 4-way tag team match for the SmackDown tag team titles. Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode versus Alpha Academy versus Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus the Street Profits. Who do you guys like in that one, guys? I want predictions. And anybody on the chat, Foul Original Wrestling, Wrestling Days, Conman 167, and anybody YouTuber around the world. You're welcome to come along in this chat room. You're welcome to see my live show. And then, from there, we will proceed on to Nathan's Coliseum Video Wrestling After Dark on Max After Dark. at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Tampa, USF, Busch Gardens. It is Atomic Blonde versus Sarah, Alicia Baker versus Lana Lang versus Sharon Pogue, and the second annual Indecent Proposal Battle Royal for the love of Amanda Cerny. And after that, Nathan's Coliseum Video KO Nation. On WTTV4 at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, at Tampa, East Ybor City. Ulrich Bayer versus Jason Canals. Terrible Terry Norris versus Eves Edwards. And then after that, Dreamland World Weekly, Next Gen, Showtime Wrestling. On WXN Fox 59. In Holiday Inn in Tampa, West Shore Airport area. Yeah, join in the chat rooms, everybody. Follow Original Wrestling. Wrestling Days. And everybody in the YouTube world, you're all invited to this live special. In the Next Gen Showtime Wrestling, Queen Caitlin Black versus Victoria Nunez, and Carmella will take on the Bullet Babe, Amber Gallows. Dreamland World Weekly, Sports Channel All-Star Wrestling on Sports Channel America at Tiburon Sports Complex will feature the 2-ring, 16-person, 15-match, futuristic brand new car tournament involving Minoru Toyanaga, Tammy Larson, William Wallace, Major Payne, Rico Dredd, El Tiburon the Shark Ton Medina, Hercules, and Tyranno Ranger Geki. Dreamland World Weekly, Autistica Wrestling, the high science of sports entertainment on Sky Perfect TV in Japan and MSG Network here in the United States at the Holiday Inn Express, Tampa, Brandon, where the headbanger El Phantasmo of Bullet Club will face Ava Story. And then Dreamland World Weekly, Top Rank Championship Wrestling on Outer Max at Holiday Inn St. Petersburg, North Clearwater. Drop Dead Fred versus Lawrence Taylor. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Summers versus Garth Brooks. Sienna versus Mac Danzig. Dreamland World Weekly, Top Rank Championship Wrestling on More Max. Jack Victory and Takumi Nakayama. Ali 2017 versus Akihiro Gono. Alberto El Patron versus Pedro Hizzo. Tommy the Machine Gun versus Buck Rock and Roll Zumov. And Prince Edward versus Team Clark Kent in a super grudge match. Dreamland World Weekly, Top Rank Championship Wrestling on 5-Star Max. Rosa Mendez and Taryn Terrell versus Terry and the Cat. Who will win a futuristic brand new car? The second one. And Sting Jr. versus 600-pound Emmanuel Yarborough. Championship Dreamland World Weekly, Top Rank Championship Wrestling on Cinemax will feature Grandpa Munster and Jim Kelly of the Buffalo Bills. Nathan's Coliseum Video Mountain Dew Sports Night will feature Len Dawson of the Kansas City Chiefs in action. Nathan's Coliseum Video Premier Championship Wrestling on WBAK Fox 38. Cliff Branch of the Oakland Raiders will face Steve Corino. The Rockin' Rebel concert, and then Rockin' Rebel has a match against Akira Soji. It'll be Layla L. Hiroyoshi Tenzan versus Eve Torres and Levi Shapiro with Howdy Price in his corner. And Nathan's Coliseum Video Premier Wrestling Champions on WTWO. It'll be Nikki Lane versus Christina Akamanu. Jim Plunkett of the Oakland Raiders versus Rhino from Violent by Design. And then a DDP concert. And then Terry Bam Bam Gordy versus Matt Bentley. Mark Kerr versus Frank Santor Jr. And then Koji Katel will face Colonel Mustafa with the Iraqi military commander Adnan. Following Championship Wrestling for Names Coliseum Video, Premier Wrestling Champions on WTHI TV. Matches still yet to be announced, as well as Names Coliseum Video, Premier Wrestling Champions on HBO Family. And Names Coliseum Video, Premier Wrestling Champions on HBO Pay-Per-View. And other matches yet to be announced on Wow Network Fight Night. And other matches to be announced on Weekly Wallace Thursday Night Fights. Matches to be announced for Weekly Wallace Friday Night Fights. And one match in particular already signed is Alexander Hammerstone, who is the MLW National Openweight Champion, but he doesn't have the belt because Mil Muertes stole that belt. But he's going to have to set that aside for the moment, as he's got to take on Dan Joseph, who is going crazy after burning the United Wrestling Network Arizona State title. Took it away from Ray Rosas after getting disqualified, and Rosas retained the belt. And we got Weekly Wallace World Championship of Pro Wrestling. MLW World Middleweight title on the line. Leo Rush will defend that title. Kelly versus Candice Michelle. Bulbasaur and Squirtle will go for the AWA International Tag Team titles. And then a Super Grudge triple threat match. Josh Alexander, Buku Dao, and TJP. And then the Big Mac match. SWA rules, 1 fall, 12 5-minute rounds. It's Union Kane from Rocky V versus Maurice Smith, former Extreme Fighting Heavyweight Champion, former UFC World Heavyweight Champ. Expected to do well against this stunning Rocky V middleman. And starting things off at GFW Amped at Tampa Stadium will be Kid Cash versus Skull Deep for the NWA TNA X Division title. If Kid Cash gets himself disqualified, then Skull Deep will become the new NWA TNA X Division champion. Matches yet to be announced on GFW Explosion and GFW Driven. And then on the Nate Wow Network pay-per-view preview show, it is Slade Craven and Orland Boyd and Slade Craven are going to team up in action. And on day one, the buy-in kickoff show at Raymond James Stadium. It is part of the King of Trojan Wrestling 2021 series. Jasmine Allure, Satoshi Kojima, Rob Conway, Red Velvet, Jade Cargill, and Alex Gracia, and many more are expected to fill in. And then the final countdown show, day one, Ray Lewis, the Super Bowl 35 MVP, versus the Polar Bear, Paul Varlins. And on day two, the Canadian Destroyer, Petey Williams, will be taking on Barry Horowitz. Yeah. And get it all taken care of. And then we proceed on from the pre-shows to the main show, day one. It is the Swamp Father versus Mr. McElroy. The Bad Sons versus the Zombies, Uno and Cesaro. Alistair Overeem versus Roger Kirby. King Mo, who's going to claim he's going to collar Adonis Creed. And then the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the Global Force Wrestling Impact World Tag Team titles. The newly reunited OVE, Jake and Dave Christ, taking on Christian Grey and Honest Steel versus Injustice, Myron Reed and Jordan Oliver versus the champions, Butcher and Blade. And don't forget about Bunny. You got to neutralize the Bunny in order to get to Butcher and Blade. Also, Matt Hardy, Big Money Matt Hardy, will be at ringside too for this Fatal 4-Way Tag match. That'll be a big disadvantage for Jordan Oliver and Myron Reed. So I'm picking Injustice to be the new GFW Impact World Tag Team Champions.
Just checking on you, make sure you're all right. I know I worksheeted yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Right, back to the pregame show we go. The next match will be for the GFW Next Gen Championship. Champion and Matt Sydal will defend his title against Matt Cardona. Okay. Doc Gallows with Carl Anderson will take on Black Taurus of DK. Team Dreamer versus Violent by Design. Shira versus Hernandez in a charity legal match. In a triple threat tag team match, Ace Austin, TJP, and Josh Alexander will have to get partners. In a blind games match, consider it to a blindfold match between Jake the Snake Roberts and the model Rick Martel at WrestleMania 7, Brian Myers and Jake Something will fit that role quite well. And then Rookie versus Experience, Peyton Royce against Mark Marrow. And Kenichi Yamamoto will have a lot on his mind when he steps into the ring with the mortifying Mewtwo. in a X Division championship of regal proportions for the GFW X Division title, Stephen Bonner, the newly crowned champ, will face Filthy Tom Lawler of Team Filthy. And then the women's tag team turmoil match. Lover Girl Dana Brooke, Ravishing Mandy Rose. Are you going to eat? Okay. Okay, back to the pre-show. Back to the pre-show. Oh, huh? Oh. Okay, come by. All right, wrestling days, follow Original Wrestling, or anybody else in the wrestling community. I invite you to join on to this live video and live chat. Now, back to the women's tag team turmoil match. The new Midnight Express, Lover Girl Dana and Ravishing Mandy, versus the new High Energy, Lana and Naomi, versus the Riot Squad, versus Natalya and Tamina. And then the Weapons Gauntlet match to determine the number one contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship at Rebellion 2021, coming April 25th. It will be Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. I'm going for Cesaro in that one. New Day versus New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, defending the Raw Tag Team titles against AJ Styles and Almost the Interrogator. It'll be Bad Bunny versus The Miz. Now a tag team match. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus Miz and Morrison. And then for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, Bianca Belair versus the champion, the Blueprint, the Boss, the new phenom of WWE, Sasha Banks. And then, title versus career for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo will defend the title against Jazz. Is this the final match of Jazz's career, or will Jazz become the new Knockouts champion finally? And then, the main event of night one for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. The collision of Bohemian Titans number 3. It'll be the almighty heavyweight champion of the world, Bobby Lashley, defending the championship against Elimination Chamber winner, Drew McIntyre, the former 2-time champ. Will it be a title retention for Lashley, or will it be a three-peat for Drew McIntyre? Let me know in the comment section, guys. I want your comments and predictions on every match. It'll be very, very, very helpful for me. And then we proceed on the halftime show on zwebtv.net and go from there to day 2. Here we Crush and Yokozuna facing one of the greatest tag teams ever from Japan. And most violent players, Togi Makabe and Toru Yano. The USA versus the Arab world versus Muhammad Hassan versus Heath, the Texas Crazy Horse Herring. The Impact Grand Championship may have a new owner, as Made in the USA Lex Luger attempts to arrest him from current champion EC3. It is the irresistible force against the immovable object, as Frankenstrowman again will face Ron H2O Waterman. WrestleMania 37 will be a night of reckoning for the Von Erichs, Marshall and Ross, as they take on the inaugural GFW World Tag Team Champions, the Bollywood Boys. And then the newly crowned GFW World Women's Champion, Bayley Billionaire, who just defeated Ariel Red Winter in a Southpaw Wrestling event a few nights ago, will defend her title against Bayley 17. And then, all rivalry renewed with KOing conspiracies floating around. Kevin Owens will face Sami Zayn, with Logan Paul invited by Zayn to be a fan of WrestleMania. So with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bruce Arians, and Tom Brady watching, will Kevin Owens stun the conspiracy theories right out of Zayn against all possible odds? You decide on the comment section. Is it Kevin Owens or is it Sami Zayn? You decide. And then for the United States Heavyweight title, Riddle will defend the title against Sheamus. Will Riddle reemerge atop? Will Sheamus return to championship Providence championship glory by regaining the title he once held, the United States Heavyweight title? You decide on the comments section. I want your predictions. And then, the first ever Nigerian drum fight for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Big E, the champion, will defend the title against Apollo Crews. We sure don't know what the stipulations for a Nigerian drum fight is, but I'm sure we'll find out tonight on the WrestleMania SmackDown special tonight on Fox. So I'm going with Big E. And then the winners of the Women's Tag Team Turmoil will face the champions, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, for the WWE Women's World Tag Team Championships. And the winners of the Tag Team Turmoil, we'll have to find out basic strategy, on not only to find a way to beat Nia and Shayna, but to neutralize Reginald. And then one of the big events, Rhea Ripley, this year's Royal Rumble runner-up, replacing Charlotte Flair, will challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Well, I don't blame Rhea Ripley for coming in as the alternate for... without a doubt, Rhea Ripley is one of the greatest prospects ever. She'll have her first official Raw match at WrestleMania, and I believe she's going to cause the Nightmare Shocker. And I believe she's going to win the title in her very first night on the main roster. Yeah. I predict that Rhea Ripley is going to become the new Raw Women's Champion on day number 2. And what do you think of this match, guys? Is it Asuka retaining the title, or is it Rhea Ripley becoming the new champion? You decide. And then we go from there to a nightmarish matchup. A match you never thought you'd see coming. It is the resurrection of The Fiend, which precipitated the match. As yes, The Fiend will take on Randy Orton this Sunday night. Oh my. This is one of the most serious main events. And when I know about serious main events, Nate, somebody might be hurt, somebody's going to be bleeding, or some bones are going to get broken. And somebody is going to leave on a hospital as soon as that serious main event is over. Oh boy. And a serious main event it is. And Nathan, we go from one serious main event to an... And by the way, guys, don't forget to comment. Who do you like to win this? To have winning this serious main event? Is it The Fiend or is it Randy Orton? RKO versus Blade Runner. Which one will prove to be the difference? You decide. And Nathan, we go from one serious main event to another. As you guessed it, it'll be you, Nathan. You're stepping right in the ring. You're defending the flag of America. You're defending the name of the Kittimer Alliance against the alien from Outer Limits. Oh yeah, rest in peace match. There will be no disqualifications. There will be no countouts. But there will be a decisive winner via pinfall and submission. Oh yeah. Just like SummerSlam 1993 between the Giant Gonzalez and The Undertaker. And you, Nathan, versus the alien from Outer Limits will fit that name rest in peace match all well. And drop a comment below, guys. Is it me winning or is it the Outer Limits winning, coming out victorious? You decide. And then the last undercard match before the main event. It is Tejano Jr. versus the Angry Amish Warrior Roadkill. And then the United Wrestling Network and Championship Wrestling from Memphis is going to crown its first Memphis Heritage Champion on that night. And I don't know who the two contenders are going to be, but you can rest assured it'll be some two contenders they can pull out of the hat. Oh, yeah. And we go from one contender determination to another as I can announce loud and clear that due to the Young Bucks turning heel on AEW's on the AEW Dynamite, due to the Young Bucks turning heel on AEW at the conclusion of AEW Dynamite 2 nights ago, I can officially announce that the Anarctic Frontier Anarchy match, the twin plexiglass cage match, is reinstated at WrestleMania, because that means it'll be Bullet Club versus the World in that cage at War Games Ultimate Jeopardy, because this is a match no one can afford to lose. Bullet Club versus the World. And yes, it's Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, and the Young Bucks. They will be taking on Team AEW, Darby Allin, Adam Page, Ty Conti, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Penelope Ford versus Team Impact Wrestling. Rich Swann, the Unified Impact Wrestling World Champion. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Eddie Edwards and James Storm versus Team New Japan Pro Wrestling. Will Ospreay, the newly crowned IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Switchblade Jay White, El Phantasmo, and Kenta of Bullet Club. And finally, the Great O-Khan. Versus Team Major League Wrestling. Leading the way will be MLW World Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu, Simon Gachin-Davari of Contra Unit, Mil Muertes of Azteca Underground, and the dynastic Richard Halliday. Versus NXT. Leading the way will be the newly crowned NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez, MSK, and leading the way will be new NXT World Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez, the new NXT Tag Team Champions MSK, Bronson Reed, and Zoe Stark. Team Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, led by the Killer Bay, Heather Monroe, Halston Body, followed by Viva Van, Cece Chanel, and Ray Rosas, who is still fuming after that Arizona State heavyweight title has been set on fire. He'll unleash all of this anger that he has for Dan Joseph out on everybody on this match. The Anarchic Frontier of Anarchy Twin Plexiglass Cage War Games match. Following that will be Team Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Nikki Lane, Dan Lane, King Derek, Brett Michaels, and Amber the Barriqua Viper Rodriguez. Following that will be Team Reality Wrestling. Cameron Cole, Roxy, Dirty Dutch, Jenna Lynn, and Will Alday. And finally, Team NWA. NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis, along with Camille. NWA World Television Champion Elijah Burke. NWA National Heavyweight Champ Trevor Murdoch, and NWA World Women's Champion Serena Deeb. This is a War Games match, just like the 1998 one with special rules, but with one prize available. Because the winner of this match, the survivor of the team, its team's captain, and the surviving team captain of the winning team will become the number one contender for the GFW Impact Global Championship and will challenge that champion at this year's June 4th Mega Show. Can hardly wait for that. And then we proceed on from there to the two championship matches. First, the triple threat match for the WWE Universal Heavyweight title. It is Royal Rumble winner, the Rated R Superstar Edge, versus Elimination Chamber winner Daniel Bryan versus the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, the Universal Heavyweight Champ himself, Roman Reigns. And I pick either Edge or Daniel Bryan to be the new champion. And let me know, guys. Let me know your prediction on the Universal title triple threat match. Is it Daniel Bryan? Is it Edge? Or is it Roman Reigns? You decide. And then we proceed on to the serious main event. From the farm field of Arkansas in my dream in the morning of the Royal Rumble, all the way to Raymond James Stadium at WrestleMania 37. It is Judgment Day, the serious main event. It is no holds barred for the Global Force Wrestling Impact Global Heavyweight Championship. Rowdy Ronda Rousey will only have this one chance of defeating Bret the Hitman Hart for the Global Championship. If Ronda Rousey loses this match, then she won't be allowed to challenge for the global title again. And the second stipulation, Ronda's fist must be covered by tape and gloved. Ronda Rousey is going to have to be better than she has ever been in her life to defeat Bret the Hitman Hart. Because Hart has never forgiven Ronda for unguardingment of the attack on him during the 2019 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And also Bret berated Ronda for her lack of dignity and poise during her reign as the Raw Women's Champion. And Ronda made some derogatory statements toward Bret, proclaiming she's going to tap out Bret the Hitman Hart at WrestleMania. So this main event is very serious. Serious main event in total. Because it's going to get ugly. It is no holds barred. There's no rules, no DQ, no countouts, no time limits, no restrictions. It's anything goes, winner take all. It is Judgment Day. Either Bret the Hitman Hart retains, or Rowdy Ronda Rousey is going to become the new GFW Global Champion. And let me go know your comments, guys. Is it Ronda Rousey, or is it Bret the Hitman Hart retaining? You decide. And I want to thank you guys for joining on this stream. The opening ceremonies is due to commence. And we're about out of time for the pregame show. So, on behalf of GFW Network, Nate Wow Network, Nathan's Room Entertainment Promotions, Nathan's Room Entertainment Productions, Nathan's Coliseum Video Productions LLC, Weekly Wallace International Incorporated, Dreamland World Weekly Enterprises, I want to personally thank you for being a part of this stream. So, on behalf of all organizations, I'm Nathan Wallace. We'll see you at the opening ceremony of WrestleMania 37, the Buccaneer Bowl. And have a good night, everybody, and enjoy the opening ceremony. And enjoy SmackDown WrestleMania tonight on Fox.